Hello everyone and welcome to another video with me, Rays, and today I'm going to be talking about the raid system. The raid system in War of the Visions is something that you are going to encounter eventually on the global side, but I should say that as of the time of this recording, I'm not sure if the FF14 raid is going to happen, and I originally predicted it would because it was a thing on the JP side, but what I may have failed to consider is the idea that when the FF14 raid came out on the Japanese side, it was horrendously broken. It was a serious problem. And so the FF14 raid was basically canceled for the JP side, and the JP side was compensated for it. And then the 14 raid never came back, really. And then there was no raids in War of the Visions for a good long amount of time. And so I'm considering that maybe Global won't get the raid for FF14 because it was never fixed on the JP side. Either way, Japan, on the Japanese side, there has been a total of 3 other raids that at the very least I can remember, including the Valentine's raid, the White Day raid, and more recently the FF1 raid. So, but today I want to talk about raids and raids in general. Like, raid is a specific multiplayer event. You can do it single player, although it is more often than not going to be more beneficial for a lot of people to do it with in the multiplayer aspect. So how does the raid system work in War of the Visions? Let's cover the basics. Basically, the raid works for a certain period of time, and by just normally spending stamina in the game, you will unlock a raid instance. Currently, right now, I am farming a story event on the JP side, and originally when the raid system launched in Japan, it required hundreds of stamina to show up. Like, I remember on the first day of the FF14 raid, I tried to get an instance to show up, and it took approximately 300 stamina. Obviously, a big problem for anybody who is not a whale who just has a ton of stamina lying around. Now, here we go. There you go. As you can see, I just performed a mission, and about 40 to 60 stamina is roughly what it takes, and that will cause a chance at your own personal raid to show up. So let's head over, click on the raid button, and kind of show the menu system and everything now that I have that raid instance. Perfect. But you should know that currently, as of the JP standards, it can take anywhere from approximately 40 stamina to 60 stamina. I've heard maybe some instances still where it takes maybe closer to 80 or 100, but I have not had that happen a lot, so therefore I am not going to consider it the average. As far as from my own personal experience, from the last couple of raids, it has been about 40 to 60 stamina on average. So there you go. So what exactly are you farming in these raids? Well, you're essentially farming crafting materials as well as currency for the event. You get both of these. And the standard raid will start at level 1 for everybody, and it is individual, meaning the more stamina you spend, the more raid instances you will get, the more you can get your raid to level up. As the raid levels up, you will get better rewards for doing the raid, as well as the boss will become tougher and tougher. Now, here is something very important to note. You cannot stack raid instances. You basically have to interrupt what you are currently doing, head over to the raid, and use that raid instance, finish it, complete it, collect the rewards, and then go back to farming before you can get another instance where it will be a higher level. So you cannot stack them. It's not like you can just throw 600 stamina into your stamina pool, auto farm a whole bunch, and then you'll just have like a whole bunch of stacked raids. It doesn't work that way, so be very careful about spending your stamina. If the global system has changed, I will make note of that in a later video, but this is how it works. So talking about the rewards, as your raid increases, you will get more and more currency as you go up. With specific rewards, this is a more recent addition, as you can see. Getting to certain milestones on the JP side will actually give you certain rewards, such as copies of the FF4 or the FF1, armor. Here you can see for getting up to raid level 79, you will actually get a +4 copy. This is really kind of neat because, as you know, crafting these armors takes a ton of resources, so this is a big help in finally alleviating a lot of that problems, and here's a +2 at about level 40. Other than that, there are just different types of rewards for whether you do it single player or whether you do it in a group. As you can see, this is the group where you are getting these rare crafting materials. This is your solo individual one. As I said, and I will repeat again, everybody has their own separate raid level. The more you do your own raid level, the higher you will get. But you can also jump in and help other people's raids to get those done and get extra bonus currency. It just won't count overall. And there are benefits for the entire raid period. For instance, getting first place will net you 3,000 lapis, about 30,000 event currency, and 15 of the hammers. Basically, it is overall a kind of more weapon crafting event. That is what you are working towards, as well as buying the stuff from the currency and event shop. So there you go. You will be able to set up your own team of 4. Again, you can just go into a raid battle with your own characters only and see how well you fare. Doesn't mean that you will be successful. If you have an entire team of really high-level characters, you should be able to just do it on your own. But in general, I find it considerably easier to just work with other people. Now up here you have 3 tabs. First tab is your raid instance. You have 12 hours to complete it when it does happen. So if you are if you can't do it right away, don't worry. Your own current chance at the boss will be around for 12 hours, though it will probably take you considerably less time. The second tab allows you to go in and choose other people's. There are lots of rooms usually, but for global people, on the very first day, it should be noted that trying to get into these rooms is next to impossible. There does not exist currently a feature on the JP side where you can just click a button to find a room really easy. It is one of the more strangely missing ones. So pretty much always the first couple days, it's just really hard to get into raid rooms because there are so many people trying to spam rooms and the system can't keep up with it. It is a flaw of the system. Don't at me about it. It just needs to be improved, and that's all I can say about that. And there is also a listing of your completed raids, all the ones that you have helped with and all of your own. This is where you can also go if the game crashes. You can go into here and collect your bonus from that battle. So don't worry about it. The only other thing to note about the system is what happens if you do not complete it. Well, if you were to go in and not finish the boss, you can just go back in and try again. But until that raid is finished, you will not be able to collect the currency. So if you join into somebody else's room, for example, and you play it and you kill the boss halfway down, and then afterwards you have to go away, you can't go back in and help them, it's fine. Later you will be able to come back and just once that is finished, you will be able to collect the currency from it as your bonus, and yeah, you can just continue on. So yeah, that is the thing to note about events and their currency. As you can see, this is the menu screen. I'll explain it. Top one is solo, basically. You bring in 4 of your own characters and just complete it on your own. The second one is 2 people. So 2 people will bring 2 characters each, and that will make up a party of 4. Makes it a little bit quicker trying to find people. And the last one is 4 individual people, all bringing 1 character each. This can be potentially a good way of farming or using a lot of strong characters to clear a high level raid. So I usually pick level 2. You can pick your speed as well as whether you want to have auto and a message on there. From here in the menu, you can actually allow your friends and your guildmates to join. All you have to do is click the buttons, and then your friends and guildmates will be able to search it. Getting in, you can set a password. Now, at the time of the FF14 raid on JP, that did not exist. It was added in a future update for the Valentine's raid, but there is a possibility to set a passcode, and that is on the once you pick your room style, you will be able to click on a button that says make a passcode, and then you just give the passcode to your friends or your guildmates or whoever, and they will be able to enter your room. That is a feature that was added later on the JP side. Now, if you're like me and you're just kind of looking for randos, it can take a little while to populate depending on how many people are currently playing and how many people are online. That's just pretty average. But from there, you just kind of go through, complete the raid, repeat if necessary to beat the boss. Like I said, as you go up the ranks, the boss's HP scales quite high, and higher level raids will also have more difficult effects. Taking, for example, the more recent White Day raid, at lower levels, the boss was pretty easy overall. But at higher levels, once you got up to, I don't know, level, I want to say higher than 40, the boss started inflicting status effects. So as you do go up, it is a little bit changing in terms of what you will be facing. So it is a good idea to check out any information to be prepared for your raid and act accordingly. Now, as for any tips that I have for setting up raid parties, because I'm assuming that's going to be a question, you should always pick your strongest DPS. Speed is not overly important. Obviously, being faster than the boss will potentially allow you to get more chains in, and chains are super important for killing high HP amounts or high HP amount bosses at higher level raids. So therefore, you want to make sure that you look into the raid before you go in there and see what type of character best benefits from that raid. The Valentine's Day raid was more Medinia's thing, whereas the White Day Choco raid as well as the War Machine raid have focused more on slash damage characters. So there are specific types of damages that are more common as well as just more favored in the matchup. A little bit weaker. I should also note that here on the JP side, there has been a recent button that allows you to kick people. I did not click it. They just left because I think they were intimidated by the characters. Anyway, in the future there will be a feature that allows you to kick people who are inactive, I should say. But yeah, going back to it, when it comes to the raid, you have 20 turns regardless. Not 20 turns overall, including enemies, just 20 turns that for your friendly units. So every time a character either alive or dead acts, it takes one of those 20 turns away. So it doesn't really overly matter about speed. What you really want to be focusing on in raids is DPS, DPS, DPS. That is the only and last thing that matters. If you are a free-to-player and you only have one really strong character, that's the character that you should put up for the raid. A reason why I said that you should be focusing on one really good UR DPS character, because that will be useful in raids. So yeah, I don't think that there's anything else left for me to talk about. I think I've talked about everything that needs to be talked about already for the raid. There is probably a few finer details that I have missed that you will become quickly acquainted with when the raids start on the global side. Currently at this time, you guys are getting a brand new event that is a side story. We have not heard yet about the FF14 raid. Do know that there is a possibility it just may not show up because it was broken on the JD side. Either way, regardless, you will get a raid in the future, and when you do, this video will help you know a fair bit about the raid system, because, you know, there could be changes in anything. Anyway, so thank you very much for watching. I'm going to continue to try and search for someone to help me on the JP side. Have a good one. See you next time. Oh, that is one last final note. Once you choose... Sorry, I was almost finished, but then I remembered. Once you choose a raid room type, I do believe that it cannot be changed. So once you choose the 2-person raid room or the 4-person raid room or an individual raid room, you are just stuck with that. So be careful about which one you choose beforehand. Okay, that's all for this video. Take care. Thanks for watching. Hopefully it helped. And if you know anybody else who would like some information on the raid, please share this video. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.